All right, so once again, still on the topic of fractions. Now we're going to be talking about multiplying fractions. We're going to spend a couple of days on this because it's super important. We're going to use this a whole lot, but today we're just we're just talking about regular fractions. So like regular proper fractions, no mixed numbers, no improper fractions, none of that. So today should be pretty simple. You're pretty much just multiplying. Tomorrow we'll get to they're not hard, but some more complex problems. So enjoy today's easy day because tomorrow, like I said, might be a little more challenging. Um, but what's really nice about multiplying fractions is it's so simple. The only rule is you multiply straight across. That is literally the only rule. So what I mean by that is if you have numerator over denominator times numerator over denominator, you just go straight across. All right, there's no butterfly, none of that. You just go straight across and make life very simple. Now you will hear me reference something called cross cancel. And I'm going to star that. And the reason I'm going to star it is because this is not a necessity. It's not something that you have to do. It's something that you can do to make life a little bit easier. But if you don't do it, you'll still get the right answer. You just have to simplify your answer. But if you cross cancel ahead of time, your answer that you'll get will be simplified already. I'll show you what I mean with a couple examples. But cross canceling kind of just makes life easier. I'm put optional beside it. Sorry, I know this is kind of all over the place. All right, we're going to start with an easy one. All right, so let's start with, we'll do 4/5 times 1/7. Okay, like I said, multiplying fractions, you literally just go straight across. So 4 times 1 is 4, 5 times 7 is 35. Check your answer to make sure it can't be simplified, and if it can't, then that's your answer. And this one cannot be simplified. So that's my answer. Literally done in one step. So please don't make it harder than it needs to be, because I promise you it's really not difficult. All right, let's try another one. Let's do 1/2 times 4/10. All right. So we go straight across. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 10 is 20. Now, if you look at this one you can simplify, because if you divide both of these by 2, you can simplify it, or you can divide them by 4. That would be quicker. So if you divide both of these by 4, remember, whatever you divide the top by, you have to divide the bottom by. So you can't do like 2 on top and 4 on the bottom. Has to be the same. That would be 1/5. Okay? But remember when I first started talking about this at the top, I told you something about cross canceling. And cross canceling looks like this. So let me show you another way of doing this. Same problem, 1/2 times 4/10. All right, so cross canceling is when you look at the numbers across from each other. So like diagonally across. So like 1 and 10 and 2 and 4. And you look at them and you see if there's anything that can go into both of them. All right, and if there is something that can go into both of them, go ahead and divide those numbers by that number and make those numbers smaller. Okay, I know that might be hard to process, but what I mean is, if you're looking at 1 and 10, is there any number that goes into 1 and 10? Yes, obviously it's 1. But if I divide both of these by 1, it's not going to change. So I'm going to leave 1 and 10 the same. But if I look at 2 and 4, what is the number that goes into 2 and it also goes into 4? Okay, and hopefully you're thinking to yourself, 2. So if I divide both of these by 2, and once again, it has to be the same number. then you're going to literally cross cancel. You're going to cross them out, okay? So like this number is no longer really here. This number is no longer really here. So when I redo these, remember, the 1 didn't change. But now what is 2 divided by 2? Well, that's 1. What is 4 divided by 2? That's 2. The 10 didn't change. So now you're doing 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 10 is 10. And that can be simplified just like this other one. If I divide this by 2, I know I'm running out of room, sorry. If I divide that by 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So you get the same answer. So what I meant by, remember at the beginning, I told you cross-canceling is optional. You don't have to do it. I didn't do it here and I got the exact same answer. I did it here and got the same answer. The only difference is that you're working with smaller numbers. So like instead of doing 1 and 4, 2 and 10, I was doing 1 and 2 and then 1 and 10. So the numbers are a little bit smaller, which makes life a little easier. But once again, it is not required. So if all this stuff in green right here confused you, then you can just ignore it. Just do the stuff in blue. Just do regular multiplying of fractions. The only time cross-canceling is really beneficial is when your numbers are big. Like if you had 10 times 20 or 10 times, or not 10, 10's kind of an easy one, but if you had like 13 times 15, all right, you'd probably want to figure out something to cross-cancel so that you can make life a little bit easier with your multiplying. But once again, it is not required. You can still do regular multiplication, okay? All right, let's look at another one. Let's see. Let's do 8/9 times 6/7. All right. So I'm going to do it both ways again, just so that you can see this whole cross-canceling thing again. All right. So 8 times 6, we know is 48. Okay. 9 times 7 is 63. Okay. This can be simplified. What goes into both of them? Let's see. 3 works. 3 goes into both of them. All right. So if I divided this by 3 and this by 3. Now, if you weren't sure, you could try a whole bunch of different things. Hopefully you could rule some things out, like that 2 is not going to work because 2 doesn't go into 63. There's some other things that would work, but start with what you feel comfortable with. So if we do 48 divided by 3, we get 16. So let's put our 16. And then if we do 63 divided by 3, we get 21. Okay? Nothing else goes into 16 and 21, so this would be your most simplified answer. Okay? But see, that might have been difficult for you. You might not have realized that 3 goes into both of these numbers. So this is a time that cross-canceling might have been beneficial for you because your numbers would have been smaller. And here's what I mean by that. Starting with the same numbers. Try not to run out of room this time. All right. So you look across. Remember, you're doing diagonal. You're not doing like straight across. Is there anything that the numbers across from each other share? 8 and 7, the only thing they share is 1. That's not helpful. 9 and 6, they share a 3. Okay? So if I divide both of these by 3, all right, then I can cross this out because it's no longer going to be 9. It's no longer going to be 6. So my new problem is 8 stays the same. 9 divided by 3 is 3 times 6 divided by 3 is 2. And then the 7 stays the same. Okay? So now you're just doing regular multiplication. 8 times 2 is 16. 3 times 7 is 21. Still get the same answer. But you see, this time I didn't have to worry about any simplifying or anything like that. I was able to make my numbers a little bit smaller as I went along. Okay? But once again, I know you're tired of me saying it. You don't have to do this. It is completely optional just to make life a little bit easier. But if you don't want to do it, then just stick to this regular multiplication right here. But I can guarantee you 98% of the time, the answer is going to be simplified. So if you're not very good at simplifying, then this cross-canceling method might be good for you. Because on the EOG or on your test for me, your answer is not going to be this right here. It's going to be this. So you need to know how to simplify it. Okay? Let's try another one. Oh, let's see. Let's do 3/10 times 2/9. Okay? Once again, let's go straight across. 3 times 2, 6. 10 times 9 is 90. All right. 3 goes into both of these. So let's divide by 3. You could have done 2 as well. Remember, the bigger number, the less steps you have to do. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. 90 divided by 3 is 30. All right. And then what goes into both of those numbers? That would be 2 again. Or 2. Last time it was 3, sorry. So 2. So then if I do 1 there and a 15 here. Okay. But once again, I could have cross-canceled. And I'm going to do this one underneath because I know that one kind of took some room. So if I do this one, all right. So remember, you're looking across from each other. So do 3 and 9 share anything? Do they share any factors that they could both go into? And yes, they share a 3. So if I divide this by 3 and divide this by 3, all right, well, then you can also look at the other way, right? What do 10 and 2 share? What's the number that goes into 10 and it also goes into 2? Hopefully you're thinking 2. Okay, so now I can make life much easier. Let me write this out. So now 3 divided by 3 is going to leave me with 1. 10 divided by 2 is going to leave me with 5. 2 divided by 2 is going to leave me with 1. 9 divided by 3 is going to leave me with 3. So all of these have been cross-canceled, okay? So now I'm just doing regular multiplication. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 3 is 15. And that is my answer, okay? It doesn't matter to me which way you do it. I want you to do whichever way is more comfortable for you. The cross-canceling thing definitely takes some practice. So if you're not good at it at first, please don't give up on it because I promise you it really does make life easier. If you ever want me to send you some extra problems so that you can practice some more, I'll be happy to do that. Just let me know, okay?